Hey guys, it's Ghosdee. Welcome back to my channel, and this week I'm going to be discussing the subgenre of the family drama horror film. I was inspired to create this video when I was thinking about some of my favorite horror films and recognizing a common thread between them. They all seem to also be a family drama or had some elements of what I would consider a family drama. So a family drama horror film would be a film that highlights family drama elements or a dysfunctional family alongside a horror tale, or the dysfunction within the family is the horror of the film, which makes it all more terrifying in my opinion. I think that family drama horror films are some of the most terrifying films because they're the most relatable. They're the ones that we can see ourselves in the most. Maybe I'm just speaking from experience. That is what I think is the special thing about family drama horror films. These films also tend to explore the effects of built-up pain, neglect, anger, the cycle of trauma in families. Not to go on a side tangent, but the great thing about horror is that you can really explore anything because you don't have to stay within the confines of like trying to keep the crowd happy and content. You can kind of go really far with it. Common things you'll see in family drama horror films are representation of family dealing with grief, domestic abuse, emotional abuse of a parent or spouse, complex relationships with parents and or other family members. Taking a look at one of my all-time favorite horror films, Carrie. The most terrifying person in this film is her mom, Margaret. Her mom is especially scary because she is not only verbally and emotionally abusive to Carrie, she's very neglectful, but she utilizes religion and the fear and projects so much of that onto Carrie. I'm like feeling it in my heart right now. I sympathize with Carrie so much because her mom is such a fucking monster and she goes to school and she's the monster and she can't escape that at all. And I fully, entirely believe that if it weren't for her mom being who she was and basically taking out all the regret and remorse that she feels for having Carrie out on Carrie would never blow up the school in the end. And I'm pro Carrie blowing up the school in the end. I want to highlight the closet scene, which is very early on in the movie, and it really shows us that we are to fear her mom, and her mom is an evil force in this film. Carrie's locked in this closet, and the close-up on the Jesus piece, what the fuck? You're neglecting your child in a closet and then you're making them stare at this creepy fucking piece of this dead guy, making her repent for something that she didn't even do. God, like Margaret is like abusive as fuck. And also she fucking kills Carrie, so that, you know, Margaret's fucking terrifying, but I have to say, Dad from Shining takes the cake. I would also consider The Shining a family drama horror film. I think that we are actually put into the family drama before it becomes a horror film. Right out of the gate, we can see the dysfunction of this family. We could see that the dad is distant. The wife is stressed the fuck out. Oh my God, stressed the fuck out. I'm gonna go on a whim here, and I think that it would be safe to say Danny and his imaginary friend, although it is a Stephen King book, so like he's not really imaginary, but yes, imaginary friend is in line with kids who are neglected at home. That is the family dynamic right out of the gate. Obviously, after they move into this haunted hotel and Jack is being haunted and he goes mad, that adds a true horror element, but I still think ultimately Jack is the scariest thing in this film. That chase scene at the end is the scariest scene in this film. Okay, naked lady in the bathtub, we'll give it that. I also wanted to point out that Jack's character, as he transcends into madness, starts to fall into alcoholism, which is very common in homes that are experiencing domestic abuse. And one thing I love about the ending of The Shining, and when I say that I mean the last shot, is that Jack is in the picture, and it's like Jack belongs in the filth of that hotel. All those creepy ass ghosts. He's a fucking asshole to his family. Not all of the family dramas have parents that are crazy and trying to kill their kids. The initial movie that actually sparked the inspiration for me to create this video, Pearl, I think is a great example of a more complex parental child relationship. The thing with Pearl's mom in Pearl is that Pearl's mom clearly cares about Pearl. She still has empathy for her. It doesn't feel very mean-spirited and evil like Jack in The Shining or Margaret and Carrie. Pearl's mom is coming from a place of concern and from her own hurt. I think that generally Pearl, the movie, is a great representation of how trauma is cyclic. And I think that although, like, in the climax, Pearl kills her parents, those moments where she's expressing her care and love for them are honest and sincere. Like, she actually really fucking cares about her parents. It's just complicated. I'm not saying, like, if you have a complicated relationship with your parents, fucking kill them. This is a horror movie. But sometimes you want to kill your parents, or sometimes you're just that upset with them, and so you don't speak to them. Killing is a metaphor. I mostly just wanted to highlight how the relationship between Pearl and her mom, aside from the moments where Pearl is killing people and hurting the animals, the true moments of fear are in these scenes where she's with her mom. In turn, Pearl, she projects what her mom puts onto her and inflicts pain on her father. Cycle. I feel that they were biting off of Hereditary with the dinner scene, or at least they were inspired by it. I'm not gonna say that it was as good as Hereditary. I mean, it wasn't a bad shot. Speaking of Hereditary, I would say that that is the most explicit example of a family horror drama. It's a movie about a family dealing with grief, especially the mom as she's dealing with the grief of losing her mother and her daughter. I think that it was great to see this movie kind of explore coping mechanisms and people seeking answers, especially in seeking answers in like faith, the unknown, and the other side, death. We start to question these things. I think that that was a great ploy to like turn this into a great scary ghost story. They didn't just make this about Toni Collette's character grieving her daughter, but also like coming to terms with her relationship with her mom. I think that grief as the horror is the loudest theme in Hereditary. When I first saw that, that's what struck me the most. So in Hereditary, Toni Collette's character was maybe using spirit boards and this believing in the other world to help cope. In Pet Sematary, the dad decides to fucking bury his son in a fucking cemetery to bring him back to life. Pet Sematary is huge on grief. This is something I didn't pick up on when I watched it as a child, because I was just like, what the fuck? There's dead people coming back to life. That's creepy. I read the book and it contextualizes everything way more. We get a lot of inner dialogue from the protagonist, who's the dad. He's always at a crossroads with dealing with the death of his son. Ultimately, he just keeps making dumb fucking decisions, literally. The whole book is him like, I should not be doing this, but I can't help myself because I'm so sad over my dead son. And he knew it was a bad decision anyway, because he buried the family fucking cat and Church came back to life and was fucked up, and he still did it anyway. But this is not about the plot. This is about the fact that this man is trying to deal with grief, and he did not do it in a very good way at all, because guess what? His wife died and he also fucking buried her and brought her back to life. The most essential part to that is just the grief. I wanted to throw in an honorable mention and just say Babadook is also a family drama horror film. The reason why I'm not going into depth about that, because I'm not really familiar with this movie. I've only seen it once. At the time, I didn't really like it. Nonetheless, this is true family drama along the lines of dealing with grief as well. Grief manifesting as a monster, how that affects the mother and the son differently. I'm going into depth anyway. It's a thing. It's called a skill. I be knowing my movies. But, you know, the child he's acting out in school, he's having so many emotional outbursts. The mom is visibly stressed the fuck out, trying to figure out answers for her child and herself. Yeah. Babadook's also a family drama horror film. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, you can give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel. You can always hit the bell to be notified whenever I release new content. Follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at Ghosdee_, Twitter at Ghosdee, and Letterboxd at Ghosdee. I'll see you guys in the next video.